This video is being sponsored by Vicious Off-Road. If you're looking to get any accessories for your off-road vehicle, I highly recommend Vicious Off-Road. They have the best parts, great price, and the best customer service in the market. If you're looking to get any accessories for your off-road vehicle, Vicious Off-Road are the ones to go to. Hi everybody, and welcome to another YouTube channel and another episode with Off-Road with Alex Perez. I have Mrs. Yadira Lopez with me today, and we're gonna interview her. We're gonna know a little bit about who she is, how she is, her off-road to success, and she's gonna teach us a little bit about the Medicare business. If you wanna get interested on the Medicare business, she's gonna give us a little bit of insight. So today is not just gonna be an off-road interview, we're gonna learn a little bit about the industry. So with that being said, I welcome Mrs. Yadira. How are you, señorita?
Muy bien, gracias. Thank you for inviting me.
No, thank you for being here. So as I mentioned, already a little bit about who you are, but let's talk about who you are. Tell us a little bit about who Yadira is.
Who I am. I am a mother of 4. That's most important for you to know about me. Before anything else, I'm a mom. I'm a mom, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, and I'm also an insurance broker. And that's what's made me who I am today.
How was your entrepreneur life? Let's talk to us a little bit about your beginnings. How did you become an insurance broker? Is that something you always wanted to do? How did you become an entrepreneur, and what got you to that place?
I don't know who's ever said I want to be an insurance broker. I don't know, I think we all fall into it, but
pretty much.
Here's my story. Straight out of high school, 18 years old, 17 years old, I started working for the city of Inglewood. Okay. I did that for a few years. Then I went to the city of Huntington Park. I was there for 10 years. I realized a lot of things there, 10 years, I grew up there. I realized that I like working with Latino community. I realized that I liked helping people. At the time, I was with somebody that wanted to, learn insurance. And I said, okay, well, let's do it together. And I ended up getting licensed. And then I started learning a little bit more about the industry. And then that's when the Affordable Care Act was coming in 2013, and all these studies were showing that the people that were going to need insurance the most or were going to benefit the most were going to be Latinos. So an idea just came like, this could be my ticket out, and let's, but I had a long-term plan, like maybe in 5 years, I can have an agency, or maybe in, 3 years I could leave my job, or, but one day, like you said, chiquita pero picosa. One day I was at work and my boss, she pissed me off. And I was like, I'm either gonna punch her or I'm gonna walk away. So I went to my desk, I printed my resignation letter, I put it on her desk, and I went to lunch.
And did not come back.
And I did come back.
Oh, okay.
But when I came back, I didn't have a job. They told me, just leave now,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because that's how people pay you back, when you work for other people, right? So I was like, you know what? I was like, I'm not scared. Like, God put me here for a reason. Yeah. Like, there's a reason for this.
The reason why that happened.
Exactly. And I was like, okay, I have no money, so what now? So I cashed out my retirement, which was like the only money I had to my name. I cashed out my retirement. I went home and I told my kids I'm gonna start an agency, an insurance agency. At the time, my kids were like, 15, 13, 12. And they're like, no, Mom, don't do that. Like, what are we gonna do for food? And I'm like, no, we're gonna be fine. I promise you. Like, I would, we're doing better things. We're gonna do bigger things. And with that money, I got a retail location, started selling insurance. I was the only employee. I didn't have employees. I couldn't afford it at the time. I just had this place where I knew I had to make rent every month, and I had to make it happen. So started getting creative, advertising, word of mouth, all that good stuff, and just it's been good.
Oh,
it's been good to me.
So it was just, I'm out, this is it, I'm gonna start my own business, I'm gonna start making my dreams, or what you wanted to do, and you move forward.
Yes, and my dreams at the time weren't to be an insurance agent or to be an insurance broker or to own multiple businesses. That wasn't it. I wanted to be okay, like mentally okay, because I wasn't. I was drained. I was tired. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing because I had to deal with, a boss that made my life impossible, and an environment that wasn't good. It was so negative. And you, as much as you try to stay positive, eventually you soak that in, that negativity, y te lo llevas a tu casa, And I had these 3 little kids that, needed me, and I couldn't be there for them, like, mentally, and I needed to make that better. So that's what my goal was, just to, be better, be a better person.
Change your mindset.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then, all the good stuff started coming.
Yeah. I always say that you change your mindset, you change your life. And with that being said, now talk to us a little bit about your journey to your company, Lodel Insurance Group, correct?
Yes.
How did that happen? You opened, you were by yourself. What was the struggle? What was your off-road towards where you're at now with Lodel?
Well, when I started Lodel, like I said, I had a partner. It was my boyfriend at the time, and we started this together. This was kind of more his vision, and I was helping him execute, but I ended up being the employee and, the one running the show eventually, and I just knew that it was getting bigger than me. I needed to think bigger because this was getting bigger, and I had to make a choice. Was I gonna conform with what I had, or was I gonna shoot for something bigger?
To the next step.
To the next step. And, throughout the years, we just started getting bigger. We started getting employees. We ended up opening more locations. We ended up partnering with other agents, P&C agents that wanted to know about, health insurance, and how could they, be involved, and how could they, make money off of that. And we started a huge referral service. So that's how we grew, is just referring business within the community, within the insurance community. Yeah, cross-selling.
Networking.
And it was just great. Like that, but of course that came with a lot of, hard times. Just to get established, just to get people to confide in us, and just the public, health insurance was new to people. A lot of people have never had health insurance before. Right. They didn't know how to work. They didn't know how to evaluate. They would let their policies lapse, and if their policies lapsed, we weren't getting paid, and sometimes it became difficult, because that's where, I really thought, okay, people are not educated, so what we have to make this sell different. And it wasn't easy sell. But that's not what I wanted. I wanted them to value what we were giving them.
So that they don't just lapse it.
Exactly. So each customer and each, transaction became something educational. Like, do you know what a deductible is? Do you know what a copayment is? Do you know why it's important to have this? And I found my passion there. And I really did. And then it just got to the point where I wasn't doing it one by one on, with customers. I was doing it in bigger scenarios. I was doing it in Vegas for the Latino Tax Scroll Convention in front of 600 people.
Yeah.
Just, you lose your fear because you found your passion.
Yeah.
And it was cool. It just snuck up on me. I didn't know that this is what I wanted, but
right. You never thought it would this is what I wanted to do, and then when it hits, just like, oh my God, boom, it just clicks.
Exactly.
And then everything else just falls into place.
Exactly, and it makes sense. And again, I feel like God had a plan for me. I wasn't ready for this a few years ago. I'm ready for it now, La vida te prepara for what you're getting. So that was pretty awesome. And from there, we just grew, and Eventually, I ended up, buying my partner out, and for the last 4 years, I've been, the CEO of Lodel, and a lot of people doubted me. I doubted myself for a little bit. Was I going to be able to do it by myself? When I went to the landlords and said, I need to, remove the other person, I'm the only owner. I remember one of my landlords said, and what are you going to do now? Like, how are you going to manage? And I was like, I took that as a challenge. And I said, you know what? I'm going to manage. I'll be fine. Exactly. I'm like, I'm going to be fine.
Isn't it crazy how sometimes people make you stronger because they don't think you're capable of doing more than where they're at, and then next thing you know, you're like, no, that's not gonna happen. Let me prove you, and it just gives you that extra boost.
Exactly. Exactly. That's exactly what happened, and I was just, I was getting a lot of that, even from other agents or other brokers. Like, what happened? Like, can you fix it? Can you? And I'm like, no, I'm moving on with my life. Leave me alone, And it sucks because when you, like we were talking earlier, this insurance industry is a big industry, but it's also so small,
Super small.
And so everybody
Super
knows
small.
your business.
Yeah. Everything.
Exactly. So, that was challenging, personal challenges and stuff. But I can tell you that in the last 4 years, each year my business has grown, my book of business has grown, our revenues has grown. And I found my purpose. Like, I know what I want to do. I found my passion. I know what makes me happy. I stopped being an employee. And I truly am an owner. I'm not confined to my offices. I'm not confined to helping customers. I'm really just, an owner trying to grow my business.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm gonna applaud you on that one because obviously I know your business. I know your girls or your employees, your hard workers, because they really are hard workers, and I see how you are with them, and I think that's super important. And I said this on a previous video with Brisa. I see more and more entrepreneur women being their own bosses, stepping out of the corporate world where they're being stopped, if you will. I mean, I'm not sure that's the right way to say it, and I see them being so successful. And the way you are with your girls, I think it's pretty awesome because I feel like you treat them like your kids. You really take care of them, and that's something that you can walk into your office and you can feel that good positive vibe that, like, you don't have to tell them, like, I need you to do this. Like, they're on it. How was that transition, or how did that involve from you being like that? Because your old boss was something like that, right?
Exactly.
And some people tend to take what they already were taught or one way and they try to duplicate it. How did you do it?
I knew that the environment that I was in, I wasn't happy. So even though I liked my work, I wasn't happy. So I wanted to be the difference, And like you said, my employees are my family. And it's funny because one of my sons, he makes fun of me. He's like, they're not your employees or your friends, but they are my friends, I think you've seen, like, on my Instagram posts and stuff, I take them on a little trip every year.
Yeah.
Just, let's go.
Makes me want to go apply.
Last year we went to Cabo, we've gone to Rosarito, we've gone to Palm Springs. Like, let's bond. Like, we're going to work together 8+ hours, a day. Vamos a trabajar juntas. Like, let's get to know each other. Let's make it better. And another thing is, like, I want to teach them the business, because if one day one of them tells me, ¿Sabes qué, Yadira? I'm going to open my own business, I'm going to be their biggest supporter. Because why wouldn't I? These women have worked so hard to help me get to where I am. Why wouldn't I do the same thing for them? Absolutely. So why wouldn't I teach them how to figure out commissions, how to pay out commissions, how to run payroll? Why wouldn't I show them that,
That's awesome. Bravo to you.
Thank you.
Because not everybody thinks that way. And I personally think that the more you help others, más mejor te va a ti in the long run. Instead of trying to stop somebody from growing, or no, it's me. What's next for Lodel Insurance? ¿Cómo va Lodel? ¿Qué sigue con Lodel?
Pues seguimos, ¿verdad? In our fight to conquer health insurance. You know, I like to stick to what I know. Like, yeah, we do a little P&C, we do other things, but our bread and butter and what, you know, has made us successful is health insurance. So we expanded into the Medicare market a few years ago, and that's been great. We have some really good partners with Medicare, and that's been awesome. That's a whole different group of people that we get to work with, and I love it. We're also doing, you know, some group insurance, so for business owners that want to offer the benefits to their employees, we have that option too. And again, then you get to work with a different group of people, and it's a different, you know, form of educating people and educating employees and employers. And so I like it. Like, you keep learning, you're teaching people. I like it. It's, you know, we're evolving.
Yeah, and let me go back to what you were saying earlier about how you find your passion about educating people. Because I always say it all the time, education to a customer is super important. And on my line of business and what I do, I see that a lot of agents or a lot of brokers tend not to take that very serious. And I always try to spread that message out, you know, that you just can't sell something. It's nowadays is you have to really educate so that people understand. How was that at the beginning? Because not everybody, or not every client, I should say, wants to get taught something. How was that procedure? How did you and your team adapt it to that?
Well, we started asking questions. You know, like, we would say, do you know how this works? Do you know what a deductible is, or a copay? Have you had insurance at work before? Because it's a little bit different. Because this is now private insurance. It's not through your employer. So they would say, I think I know, but explain to me anyways. So we kept it short and sweet. You know, we're not sitting there for hours. We you know, we want to get you on your way as well, but we want you to understand it and value it. And then, you know, thank God we have these laws that back us up. So just like auto insurance, health insurance, you need to have it.
Yeah.
But now in California, you pay a penalty if you don't have insurance. So sometimes we would tell people, okay, it's, you know, tanto al mes, and they would say, oh, es muy caro, prefiero pagar la penalidad. And I would say, okay, well, let me calculate the penalty for you. And they would be like, oh, so yeah, so you'd rather pay a $3,000 penalty and not have insurance than to just pay insurance. And I said, you know what? It's one of those things, like, you never imagine you're gonna need it. And I'm firsthand, you know, like I was sharing with you earlier, I have firsthand experience. I never thought I was gonna be sick. I never thought I was gonna need this insurance. But it saved me from bankruptcy, like, honestly. And I always preach, you know, like, have something in place, because you never know when you're gonna need it. And now, unfortunately, I have my own story to share with people. And sometimes, I know it's a little dramatic, but it is my reality. And I have to tell people, and, you know, just to kind of get my point across. Just because I'm always trying to help people. At the end of the day, you know, people are going to make their own decisions. But I know that I tried, you know?
Now, as you can see in front of me right now, we're going to go through this little obstacle here. Obviously, this is an off-road show. Share with us what happened to you, and how did that affect your mindset, and what did you get out of what happened to you?
So February of 2020, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was 38. It's one of those experiences that I can't even, like, it's so hard to explain to you. Pero I thought it was gonna be like, you know, I had all these tests and I was waiting for the results. And I thought it was gonna be like in the movies, you know, que te llevan y te, oh, ven, siéntate, te vamos a platicar. No, I got a phone call, I was sitting at my desk, I had customers, you know. And I was like, I'm sorry, I need to take this call, because I knew it was the doctor and I needed to hear, you know. Because I had been waiting for a week, I was going crazy. And it was a doctor, and he's like, "Hi, Miss Lopez, this is Dr. blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, "Hi," and y lo oía muy contento, right? So I'm like, "Oh, okay, we're good," you know? Because he was like, "How's your day?" And I was like, "It's great, I'm working, blah, blah, blah." He goes, "You have a second so I can give you the results?" I'm like, "Yeah, go ahead." And I remember he said, "So your biopsy came back positive, you have breast cancer." And what he said after that, no te sé decir.
You just...
Like, I could hear him, but I couldn't hear him. I looked around and I was like, am I dreaming? I got to see a doctor immediately. I had surgery. I had chemo. I did chemo. I did a very strong chemo for 3 months. Then I did radiation after that. And then I continued chemo for a year. I actually had my last treatment in March.
Wow.
I got to ring the bell, which was extremely emotional. And I mean, thank God I'm in remission. They caught it early, but that changes you, like you can't imagine. Like la vida es prestada. I've heard that my whole life, pero no lo entendía. No lo entendía y no lo procesaba. And now, I'm here with you. I would have never done this, FYI. Pre-cancer, I would have never done this. I'm the person that at Disneyland, I stay with the stroller, I stay with the kid, aquí los espero. I'll hold your purse. I don't get on Dumbo at Disneyland because I'm scared. I'm scared of heights. Look, mira donde me tienes.
You've never off-road before?
Hell no.
So now life is
I'm afraid to go fast on the freeway.
You...
Yes, now it's like, fuck it, let's do it. Let's go. Vamos.
I love it.
You have to.
All right, Yadira, so gone through all that, been through all that. What's a positive outtake? Right now we're going downhill on this obstacle. And obviously it's not the same going up, going down. What's something that you took from all this that you've gone through that you can say it's changed you in a positive way? Excuse me, I'm going to look the other way so we don't get
Yes.
No,
tú pon atención allá. I've realized that God has a plan for me. And I've gone through these things in my life to make me who I am. And putting the right people in my life. Like, that whole transition of me going through chemo and radiation and all that stuff. Like, ahí sabes quién está contigo. You know what I'm saying? Your relationships grow. I established this bond with my kids that I didn't have before because the roles changed. They were taking care of me. I wasn't taking care of them, They had to be strong for me. It wasn't the other way around. And I'm 38 and I needed my mom. Like, I wanted my mom. And I haven't lived with my mom since I was 14 years old. But at that time, I craved that, I craved that relationship, that closeness. I needed somebody to take care of me. And I realized a lot of things. Like, I'm not a superwoman. I need help. I can't do it alone, And I'm gonna live life to the fullest. I'm not gonna be scared anymore. Because being scared has stopped me from doing so much. So much.
It's so true. That fear of that what if, and knowing that you had that in you and that could have been it and you're alive and everything went fine. It's like nothing's gonna stop me, right?
But right now I feel different. Like, I feel alive. Like, it feels awesome being out here. Like, it's a beautiful day. It's just cool. I wanna do different things. I want that when my life to be over, I say, you know what? No me quedé con las ganas. I did everything I wanted to do.
That's awesome. And what's something that, for instance, all the viewers that are gonna watch this video, that have watched these videos, some of us tend to hold ourselves back. And sometimes, like, it's hard to tell somebody, you can go ahead and do it, but it's easier said than done. What advice would you give somebody that's gonna watch this to say, you know what, dale, like, what's something that you can say? What's your advice? I'm
gonna say that if you know that you're a hard worker, a hustler, and you have a passion, there's no reason to be scared. Do it. Because when you work for somebody else or when you're doing something that you don't want to do, vas a llegar a un tope y ya no, de ahí ya no subes. And when you're your own person and you're doing your own thing and you're working for yourself and you know that your hustle's gonna take you higher and higher,
It's unlimited.
you want more. Yeah, it's unlimited. And then you branch out, and that's kind of where I am right now. I'm like, do I want to stay with insurance for the rest of my life or do I want to branch out? Like what's,
Your door's open.
Yeah, and I'm like, the only thing I know is I want to retire in the next 10 to 15 years. And that's all what's going to take me there? And that's where my mindset is right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true. That is awesome. Well, Yadira, I also want you to talk to us a little bit about the business. I want you to give us a little bit of insights to maybe somebody that's watching this channel says, you know what, maybe there's another female, another young entrepreneur, a young kid, or anybody that's on the field, or maybe they're already in the insurance industry, but they want to do something else. I want you to talk to us a little bit about the industry, how this business works on the Medicare side and on the healthcare side, and talk to us a little bit about the business. Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's get started. All right, Yadira. Well, let's talk about a little bit about the business. Give us a little insights, something educational so that anybody that's gonna be watching this can take and say, maybe I wanna do this. How does it work? Give us a little bit of education.
I'll tell you, the life and health side of the business, it's a more intimate sale. So you get to ask a lot of questions. It's not as black and white as, give me your driver's license and your registration. It's more, who are your doctors? Who are your specialists? What kind of medication do you take? Do you have any health conditions? And so it's a different conversation. So people start to trust you more. And then I found that at that point, it gets a little bit easier to cross-sell, And it's extremely profitable. It's just, I think people are a little bit more afraid because it is a little bit more hand-holding. Customer service is a little different. But at the end of the day, if it's something that you understand and you're willing to teach somebody, your customer, I think it's a win-win. If you notice on the life and health side, there's usually older agents, because you have to have a little more patience. And but like I was telling you earlier, my kids work for me, My kids are all licensed, except the 6-year-old, he's not licensed. But, my 3 older kids are licensed and, they learn to talk to people. So I don't think there's an age to it or anything like that. I just think you have to be patient. You have to understand that it's a different sale and it's in a more intimate sale. You're going to ask personal questions and people will trust you a little more because they're giving you all this information. And at the end of the day, you establish really good relationships. You'll see that they start referring people to you, I do advertise, but maybe not as much as I would if I had a PNC agency.
Correct.
Because I get that word of mouth, like, ve con Yadira o háblale a Mayra porque, she did this for me and they trust you. So they're going to send you, their friends, their family. And it's funny because there's agents that don't understand this side of the business, right? And anytime I go to a convention or, any kind of get-together, it's like, come, you need to sell home insurance, you need to sell auto. And I'm like, I do, just not at the level that you want me to. Yeah. But I've even had agents tell me, just give away your book of business. It's not profitable. Come do PNC. I'm like, no, it is. It is. Trust me. I wouldn't be doing this if at the end of the day, I wasn't, it wasn't good for business.
And what's the procedures? What do we have to do? Obviously, you get licensed. What's the next step? Say somebody will come up to you and says, you know what, Yadira, I want to be part of Lodel, or I'm interested in doing life and Medicare and life or health. What's the business like? Give us a little bit more insights of, meaning how are you going to get paid? I mean, not necessarily to the dollar amount, but how does that processing work?
So, of course, you have to be life and health licensed, right? If you want to do health insurance, you have to be Covered California certified. Okay. And it's not a complicated process. It's an online course that you take, and there's a little test at the end. To sell Medicare, that's a little bit more complicated. You do have to be AHIP certified, which is a course that you also do online, but it's a little bit more intense just because it's such a sensitive topic. You're dealing with elder people, senior citizens. So there's a lot of laws that you have to abide by. But it's not impossible. It's not complicated. Right now, I just got an email of Medicare. So if you enroll somebody who's new to Medicare in 2022, you're looking at $730, I believe it is, per application. And if you renew that every year, then you get half of that every year.
Oh, wow.
So off this one customer, you're making endless amount of money if you keep them on the books, Medicare is extremely profitable. Health insurance is also, but of course, it's in volume. The commissions are smaller, but when you kind of get that ball rolling, like I have several customers that, several agents that have maybe like 100 policies that they hold, and they're making a couple thousand a month, and it's just residual income. It's nothing they have to touch. There's definitely money to be made on this side of the business. Life insurance is extremely profitable. The amount is endless just because there's so many different products and there's so much business out there you can make. You can hit bonuses. It's a good business. There's definitely money to be made. But it is, again, if we're comparing it to PNC, it's a little bit more of an intimate sale.
Intimate sale. Mm-hmm. Now, what's a good tip or advice you would give somebody that wants to start into the insurance world, that wants to jump into the insurance world? What's a good tip that you would give them to be successful?
Well, first and foremost is be patient. This takes time.
That's so true.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, I kind of shared with you a little bit of my story. I opened my retail business. I opened the doors January of 2014. I saw my first paycheck from my health insurance company in July. So for 7 months, I had to figure it out because I didn't have a job. And, I had to figure it out. So you have to be patient because it takes a minute to get that ball rolling. But once you start, there's no stopping you. And I think that this industry is not for somebody who's not focused, It's somebody who's not afraid to hustle, who's not afraid, to get down and dirty and talk to people. And, we don't have hours of operation. I get told all the time, your phone's always ringing. Yeah. Customers are up at all hours of the night, And when you've established that relationship where, call me.
They're going to call you, that's for sure.
Yeah, but it's a good thing because they trust you. And that means they're going to send you business.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Another question that I have for you is, what would you look for in an employee? What's something that you would look for to say this agent can work for Lodel Insurance? What do you look for?
I look for drive. Like they have to have the drive for more, right? If you come in wanting a paycheck, this is probably not the place for you.
McDonald's.
Yeah. Like anybody will give you a paycheck. But you have to want to help people. You have to want to learn. You have to want more. Because I'm the type of person that's always going to throw more at you. Like, okay, you mastered this. Now let's master something else. Because like I said at the beginning, I want us to grow together. Because I don't expect you to work for me the rest of my life. I don't expect you to work for my company the rest of your life, Go do your own thing and I'll help you. If you help me, why wouldn't I help you, And the only way you're going to be motivated to do that is if you're, learning more and not afraid to take on anything else. Because at the end of the day, that's what stops us is the fear, or we're conformant to receiving a paycheck. I never want to receive a paycheck, Alex. I don't ever want to be a W-2 employee.
I'm there.
Yeah.
You like to create leaders, right? Obviously, you're taking them to the next step and to the next step. How does that play a role in Lodel Insurance and your success?
Because if they grow, I'll tell you this, like if the agent grows, I'm a general agency, right? So even if you go out on your own, you still need to be under a general agency. So I'm still, making a profit, of course, because hey, who works for free?
Yes.
But at the end of the day, you've created somebody that's independent, that's gonna create another leader, And you said something earlier. You said your mom made you who you are. My mom made me who I am, and she always raised me to be a leader. And that's what I know. So my kids, I've raised them to be leaders. My employees that are, like my kids, even though, hey, I'm not that much older. I want them to want more for themselves, for their families, I want them to be happy with what they're doing, but not complacent with just, here's your paycheck.
Yes, definitely. And the reason why I ask is because I see a lot of business out there that they don't want to delegate a lot of knowledge to their agents because they're afraid that they're going to leave. But I feel like that's one of the reasons why a lot of them don't succeed. And I am one to say that if you teach everybody else what you know and have them replicate your knowledge, it's no stopping.
It's powerful.
Super powerful.
It's beyond powerful. And like I was telling you, I unfortunately was home for 6 months. I didn't leave my house for 6 months. My only day that I would leave would be on Mondays when I would go to chemo for 6 months. And I didn't have to worry about was payroll gonna be run, where, my agent's gonna get paid, was the customer gonna be helped? No, I don't worry about any of that because I have an office full of mini-me's. You know what I mean?
Yes.
They got it.
You establish a foundation.
Absolutely. And trust.
Yeah.
I trust these girls with everything that I have. Literally. And it was just, it's a really beautiful relationship. And that's all I could ever ask for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for tuning in today to another episode of OffRoad with Alex Perez. And since this was your first time, how did you see the road? How did you like the trail?
Honestly, I think I had scared myself so much that it was a piece of cake. I love it though. It's beautiful out here. I would do it again. Definitely.
Super peaceful
Yeah.
to do this. Well, ma'am, muchísimas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Thank you for sharing your road to success, your struggles, and obviously your success. And guys, thank you so much for watching one more time. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video, and put any comments down below. So with that being said, mi gente, thank you so much for tuning in. Ma'am, thank you so much. I wish you nothing but success.
Thank you, guys.
And you guys take care, and we'll see you guys into the next one.